Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fulton Street Beats. If you are a viewer who doesn't like to piss off the guitar gods, you might want to change the channel because this might upset you, or it might make you very curious, very excited to see the outcome. You see, today's episode of Fulton Street Beats, we're going to do something I think is cool, and we're going to find out what makes the Baretta Special so special. Now, I had my belief that the Kramer Baretta Special is special because of its amazing fast playing neck and the thinness of it, and wow, would just feel so good in the hands, right? But there's more to it than that. It really is an outstanding sounding guitar, and even though it had budget parts on it and a cheap tremolo system, it stayed in tune pretty good, and it all worked rather well together. One of those conundrums in guitars and budget guitars that we go, well, why? So it always leads us back to that part that we feel, and that's that neck. Amazing neck. Great fret job. But is that what makes it special, or is it the combined total of the guitar? Is it the feel of the body? Is it that pickup that can be made so much better just cutting out the tone bleed? So we're going to take this basically couple-week-old Kramer Baretta Special that I've already did some upgrades to. So we've started the process already, and I've taken the bridge and I've put a black bridge in it that has a much heavier mass block. It made a big difference in playability, at least the feel of the guitar and the sustain of the guitar. And I did some other things just to change the aura of the guitar, such as we cut out the tone bleed and we turned the pickup upside down to give it, well, more of that vintage look that, if you look at other Kramers, have, with the white on top, the zebra on top instead of the bottom. And then we put some black tuning keys on it. So basically it's the same guitar with a couple little upgrades. Nothing major, nothing to write home to mom about, but yet still made it better, just that much better. But what happens if we take what most of us believe, including myself, is the most magnificent part of this guitar, this neck? We take it off and we change it with another neck. That's what we're going to do today, but not just any neck. No, we're going to take it off from my Yngwie Malmsteen custom build that I did. And if you haven't seen that video, you might want to check that out. We did a complete build of an Yngwie Malmsteen replica, not a Chinese replica that I bought from China, but a complete build from the body up, pickups, you name it, to prove that we could build a guitar that sounded just as good as the original and played just as good for a fraction of the price. And this came in at around less than $500 when it was done. Yes, it does have the Scalloped fretboards. It does have an amazing fret job. It has a brass nut. We have vintage, authentic vintage Fender tuners on it. And a lot of time and effort went into this guitar. So I love this guitar. So it makes me a little uneasy myself taking things apart to swap. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this neck, we're going to put it on this guitar. Will the Kramer Baretta Special remain special? Or will it be another step up, or will it just become a ho-hum guitar with a Scalloped fretboard? That's what we're going to find out today. Let's get over to the workbench and start tearing this one apart. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button, share, subscribe. Let's get those algorithms kicking, and I can bring you more cool Frankenstein-style projects here at Fulton Street Beats. Let's head over there now, guys. So check this out. We have something I didn't expect under here. We actually have some authenticity that is right into the wood of this neck. Very cool. Man, this is a very light neck. What an amazing neck. We'll see how this plays out on something else, but there you go. There's the Baretta Special neck. I'm going to hang this up over here. And let's take a look at this body and check out the routing. Very nicely routed. And let's get the neck off on the Yngwie Strat. Like magic, there it is. And we'll set the Kramer body to the side for now. And we'll start unstringing off. Now what's nice about these vintage style tuners, if you can see, these are Fender vintage style tuners. They actually set up like a bass guitar where the end of the strings go down in and then you tighten them up. It makes tuning really easy and a breeze, and stringing it up really a breeze. I'm really impressed with these tuners actually, and the tuning stability. So we can take these out just like this. Loose and pop. Isn't that crazy? So there's no fuss, there's no muss when we do this. This is how fast this is. They literally pop out, boom. Which means if you ever have to take this apart, if we're going to keep this neck on and you have to de-string, you can simply pop these right back in the same location. I'll give you an example here. Pop it right back into the same location with this down into the hole and in the groove, pop them on, tighten them up, you're done. So very cool tuners. I'll leave a link, if I remember, in the description to these Fender. These are actual Fender tuners, so let's get this out of here. And later on, we may be getting rid of one of these guitars after we Frankenstein it. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a reverb sale. There we go. Okay, so now this is off. Now we're going to flip this over, and we're going to take this neck off and see, and hopefully the measurements all work out. So one thing we notice is there is a difference in screw size in threads. So we're definitely going to use the Kramer screws with the Kramer. And this is our Fender neck plate. I was tempted to use that, but let's get this out of here and get our... Okay, and there we have it. And there is this gorgeous, gorgeous neck. And now we'll set this body to the side and let's see. As you can see, there's a big brass block in there. I would definitely be using this bridge on this Kramer if I could, but this is an American spaced bridge, so that's not going to work. But there's the body, and this was the problem with this guitar, is they actually cut this out wrong. It's a little too big from the factory. The measurements weren't what they indicated. So we may end up getting rid of this body. Might put this body on a reverb, maybe this whole piece right here, everything together, but it's pretty much all set to rock and roll. You just have to throw a neck on it, but there may be a little gap, but still very cool. So now comes the moment of truth. Will this neck fit this body? I'm pretty sure it will, considering how I measured, but we're going to double check it. Let's make sure. Let's see. It should fit snugly. And I'm going to try to get this in here. Just like, look at this, guys. Just like butter. Yes, it does fit in there. That's a good looking fretboard on this guitar. So I'm going to pan you back. Let's turn it over. Let's tighten it up and see exactly what we got. Okay, we have ran into our first technical difficulty. And as you can see, something I didn't even think of, guys. Neck plates. They're spaced different holes. So that means couldn't use this plate if I wanted to without ruining the Baretta body. So do I want to change the body to match the holes in the neck, or change the neck to match the holes in the body? I think that is pretty self-evident what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the neck to match the holes in the body, but we need to find out how far off we are first, according to the holes that are in this neck. So what I'm going to do is push this up in here tight, and we're going to go down with a screw, and we're going to touch it and see exactly where we are here. I'm going to score it. Score it. So I need to see exactly where we're... I got to get it in there and score it. And we'll pull it off. And we'll see how far off we are on the neck. And this is what happens when we do modifications. So we're very close to the holes that are already here, but no cigar, which means we have to fill these holes. So a lot of you may wonder, how do we fill such small holes? And these are incredibly small holes. As a matter of fact, let's mic this and I can show you just how small they are. These holes are not even 2.4 millimeters, so very, very small. So how do we fill such a small face? Obviously, finding a correct dowel is kind of hard, but what we can do is simple things. We're just enforcing it, not because we do have space where these screws are going to go. We just want to make sure that nothing's going to break out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little wood glue, put it on the end of a toothpick, and we're going to start letting this set up in the hole, in each one. Get it in there, push it down, in each hole. What are we going to fill this in with? That's the question. What's the wood glue? No, the wood glue is not the fill. We're actually going to use these toothpicks to fill in the hole. And don't worry, guys, it does work. I've actually fixed bridge holes that needed to be filled with these before, which is very cool. Okay, so we got that in there. So what do we do now? Well, we're going to make a few... we're going to cut a few picks here. Toothpicks, I should say. I'm going to get out my side cutters, wherever they are. There they are. And let's see how deep, judging by the one we just used, we're going to go on this. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to put it right here. And that's going to be how far that's going to go down. And remember, it's just filling space. So I'm going to take this one and put it to this one. I'm going to cut a few of these like so. And I'm going to take this edge. I'm going to cut a few of these like so. And we're going to first drop in the thick portion here. Then we're going to drop in a thin portion here and another thin portion here. And then we're going to tap this complete thing down as far as we can. We're going to get this flush. We're going to fill up that space as good as we can. And that's it right there. And now we have the space filled. We'll have to clean this up. While it's wet, we can cut this out, and that will adhere to each other. And we have a flush set. It's that simple, guys. Now, a lot of you will go, oh my God, that's a half-assed job. How dare you do that? Trust me, that is going to be super, super strong. Okay, so same thing again. I want to make sure we got enough in there. And guys, you can clip this. I'll show you another way to do. You can clip this off afterwards. You don't have to clip them at the same time. We can just throw it. I'll give you guys some different options here. I'm going to take this one, put it in. And I want the fat end in first. Then we take our pointed end. We can put that in. And then we can take another pointed end. And we can put that in. And this is just filling up space. Cut them all the equal lengths. And give them a hammer. Flush again. And that's all that does. That's all that does. We'll come back. We'll cut that off. We're going to do the same to these two. Come back. We're going to screw on our neck. And then what I do, they're all in, is I come back with a razor blade right across the top, nice and flush, and just kind of work it. Don't make sure you don't slip and cut yourself, because God knows I've done that. Just nice, work it back and forth, and now you got a flat, flush surface. Let it do its work. Not a lot of pressure. Just let the razor blade do the work as you wiggle it back and forth. As long as you're flush on the surface, it'll flush off at the end here. I'm taking my time because I don't want to cut myself. There we are. I'm going to work this back the other way because that's got a little bit of a ridge of a lip. There we are. So there we are. And our holes are now filled, and we're ready to install this neck. Now, if you feel uncomfortable, or if you feel anything sticking up, what you can do is take a bit of a brass hammer, and you can tap these down even farther. Actually, I'm going to do that, not use the big hammer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little brass hammer here, just to make sure they're flush. Give that a little tap. 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 And everything is flush now. If you see anything that looks like splits, it's not. It's just green. Everything is good there. So we're going to drill this out. Now we're going to drill it out and get ready, some pilot holes ready for our neck. Now, one thing I want to mention as we do this, you'll find that our neck height for each one, as far as the thickness of the neck itself, is identical. So we're good to go there. So we should be all set to go. We'll put it in. We'll drill our holes and get ready to see if this neck is going to be set properly. Now, this neck right here is pretty. They're both very, very nice necks. So we'll drill our holes, and man, we're getting there quickly. So what we need to do now that we're at this point is make sure that the strings are going to run straight and where they need to run. So we're going to take our high E that I left on here, and I'm going to run this from here all the way up to here, and notice that it is sitting perfectly on the fretboard where it should be sitting. So that one is a go, and then we're going to take our low E. I'm going to check that one too real quick, just to make sure everything's in proper alignment, because if it's not, then this obviously would not work. So take the low E, and perfect alignment down through. So yes, we're going to be really good to go. Actually, this is a very nice fit. Very, very, very nice fit. What an exceptional neck. And man, does it look cool. God, that looks cool. All right, let's drill those holes. So what we have to be sure is that we don't drill too far. So we put the plate on here, and we just get an eyeball location of about how far down the screw is going to drop into the plate, so we know how far the drill has to drill into the neck, which is about to here. And then we're going to take the drill. Now that we know how far down that goes, and I'm going to kind of eyeball this. It is not a rocket science thing. Eyeball it to the end, and we'll know that we can't drill down past a certain point, and I'm just simply going to tape it off and see how far down that's going to go, and make sure we're not going to go through. I might need a little more than that. And about right to there. Okay. If we go right down into there, that's going to mean our screw's going to sit about the same. So we just want to make sure our depth is not too far. You can eyeball this. You can get very precise if you'd like, but this is really going to work out just fine. And I'm going to move this plate now. We're going to go, now that we know that, and the neck is centered, so we're going to go right down into the center, and we're going to start drilling. And that is one. Now that we have one done, what we do is we cross section this. We're going to go to the back one here. Do the same thing. And I hope this makes sense to you guys. Okay. Now we know the neck is going to be in alignment. We're going to put on our plate, because if there's any adjustments to be made, we don't want it too tight on one side. And remember, it had the fatter screws. So we're going to start a screw here. I'm going to start a screw here. Now, a lot of people don't like my methods, but my methods are my methods, and, well, they haven't failed me yet. So we're going to go in slowly, and we'll wait for it to bind and bite, which it has. We're not going to tighten it yet. It's going to bind and bite right there because it's fresh holes. And now that that's bound and bit, we can actually tip this over and recheck. And really all the thing we have to recheck is one. And we're straight down the fretboard exactly where we should be. And in case you just want to make sure, we'll check the high E also. And that's why I left these strings on, guys. So we could check. And the high E is also right where it should be. So both strings are running exactly where they should be. So we know we got our holes drilled right. Now, do we have to shim or anything? Well, that's going to have to be later on. We'll have to see if we have to shim. Hopefully we don't. But now we can lay this back down, flush. Okay? And we can drill out our other holes, but we're going to drill the other holes out after we tighten these up because we know we don't want it to move. So super simple. Nice and slow. Snug it. Not even snug yet. It's nice and slow. Nice. And nice. Okay. So we have two, and you see how perfect these screws are sitting. These screws are absolutely perfect. The neck has not shifted whatsoever. And this is to show what you guys can do at home. I mean, this is not a hard thing to do at all. Now, I could go deeper with the bit, but I choose not to because I want there to be a nice tight fit at the tip of the screw. So now we're going to screw these one out. There they are. You can see the debris. And before we're going to do these just like this now, we're going to alternate back and forth because we don't want anything shifting. And this guarantees no shifting. Then we'll start it. Let it wait for it to hit. Slowly in. There we are. We'll finish tightening these up after we give it a little test and play. We go back through and we tighten everything up again. And we'll pop it out one more time and do our last one. And remember, there's no changes to the Baretta body. No changes to the Baretta body whatsoever. So the Baretta is still 100% the way it was. The only thing we did was modify this, well, aftermarket neck. And really that doesn't bother me at all because it's just a custom build that I did. Now we take this. And keep in mind, it's very tight too because we have taken up those space. Look at that. Incredible. And that's how that is. So let's flip this up, get a peek at it, and maybe clean it off a bit for you. There we are. But it doesn't get any better than that. And look at that beautiful skunk stripe. And there is our fit on the front. And now, pan back, that's a very nice looking neck for sure. So we can now take our E, and a lot of people are going, what about scale length? Well, scale length is going to be what scale length is because we actually not going to move the bridge, and I am not setting the neck up in as far as it can go. We may have to intonate due to scale length, but that's actually a secondary thought. So let me work on getting these strings untangled for one, and then make sure this stuff lines up still for two. Okay, so there's our string. We're going to pop this string in the hole down here. I hope you guys can see. Let me get you here. Let's see how this works because we left the string on. So right now we're going to do the two E's, and I want this down as far as it can go, which is there. And this locks in like a bass guitar. And how cool is that, guys, right? I mean, that's just the coolest thing ever, in my opinion. And then we'll take our tuner and we'll start cranking this thing. And we just kind of bend it down. Once it's in there, you bend it down and let it do its thing. This is the easiest type of tuner to tune. I love this thing. I'm going to push it right in that brass nut and see. Make sure everything's going to fit properly here. And I'm curious as to what kind of action we're going to have here. So what I'm definitely going to have to do, well, we'll have to wait till we get it strung up, but it looks like I'm definitely going to have to adjust the action on the bridge. So we'll cross that bridge here in a second. Let's, as you can see how nicely that E is running down right where it should. Boom, right where it should. So let's get the other one on here. So the neck will definitely require no shimming up, but we'll definitely need a saddle height adjustment. So we can do the same thing here. We're just reusing our old strings for now. Not that they'll stay like this, but this is kind of a pain, but I don't want to use new strings to test fit. That can get quite pricey. I'm going to get it out of my block and over on the high E saddle. And once again, this has a brass nut on it, which is really cool on it. Let's see how that works with the Baretta. So there's our two. Let me get this strung up, and we'll start adjusting the action in the neck and see how this thing's going to sound. So here we go, and I'm going to get you kind of in here if I can. And I haven't set the action yet, but just to show you how fantastic those strings run up through. Great fit, right? And very good looking. At least I think it looks outstanding. Very cool. Scalloped fretboard on a Kramer Baretta Special. Man, I can't wait to play this thing. Let me get in here, set this action up. I'll skip over this part, and then we'll plug it in and see how it sounds. so it's done. Did require a shim on the back. Not a lot, just a little bit. It looks fantastic. I think we can all agree on that. But is it still special? Is the Baretta Special special? Has anything been taken away from this guitar, or has it been added to? Well, in my opinion, it's a little more special than it was before. And don't get me wrong, the other neck is fantastic. It's slim, it's fast. And when you grab that guitar with that neck on it, you just want to metal. But now all of a sudden with this neck on, well, you're not afraid to do anything. And that's kind of weird. And to me, that makes it better. Now, is the neck faster than that neck? I don't believe it is. But there's a trade-off because we have a scalp fretboard, which means we don't have to press as hard when we're playing. But if we want to, we can go sharp simply by pressing a little bit deeper, which gives a really nice blues tone. But how's that going to convey in the metal world? Well, stay tuned and find out, because on the next episode of Fulton Street Beats, we're going to find out if this guitar metals. And, well, I think it's going to do it all. So don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe, and stay up to date, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below on this Frankenstein, I like to call it, build. I think this is pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.